Hey students, next we're going to talk about grading. I think it's important that you understand how and when I will be grading your work and what you can do to improve your grade. If after these four short explanations you have more questions about your grade, please ask because I want to make sure that you understand. So, one thing that's true across campus is that we have two types of grades. You will have formative grades and summative grades in all of your classes. And this year, the summative grades are worth 40% of your overall grade, while the formative grades are worth 60% of your overall grade. So they're not quite 50-50, but it's close. Here are some of my grading policies. If you turn your work in on time, and we're going to be doing work on a weekly basis, so I'll give you new work on Monday. If you turn it in by the following Monday, then you can be sure that it will be graded by Friday of that week. However, if you turn in your work later than the Monday after it was given, then I may put that work, to a second priority and prioritize the work of students that are turning in their work on time. So try to turn in your work on time if you want it to be graded right away. If there's something that you need me to grade and you notice that I haven't graded it yet, you can always send me an email or a remind message and I will try to get back to you within a day or two. You should revise your work until you're happy with it. So if you get a grade and you're not happy with it, there'll be times where I will require you to retake or revise that assignment. But there'll be other times where you might have an 80 or 90 and you decide that you want 100. Then I'm also happy to accept revisions or retakes for students that want to get a better grade. Whether you have a 50 or a 60 or an 80 or a 90, you can always improve your work until you get 100. You should always do your own work. Even when we're working in groups, there will be an individual component. Make sure that you do your own work. You're not cheating, you're not copying, you're not taking answers from the internet directly, especially on assessments. You should be able to defend your knowledge and just pay special attention. If a question asks you to write in your own words, then make sure that you write in your own words. Just some definitions below. Assessments are just another word for ways that you demonstrate your learning. So those can be tests or projects, they can be essays or presentations. There's some way that you demonstrate your learning that subject. The difference between formative and summative assessments is that formative assessments are sort of like progress checks and they happen along the way. Summative assessments are more like a summary. They happen at the end of a unit or the end of a topic. And those are usually larger or longer term assignments like essays, projects, presentations, and exams. In this class, we'll use a mastery based grading scale. So each week, I will give you an assignment that involves these 5 levels of mastery in chemistry. If you complete the exploration stage successfully, then you will have earned a 60%. Notice that the lowest grade that you can get is a 50%. That represents an assignment that is missing or an assignment that does not show any knowledge or mastery of chemistry. So if you show a minimal level of mastery, you could earn a 60%, which is also not passing. So ideally, you would want to move on to the explanation phase. In this phase, you're going to be able to use some of the vocabulary from the unit, define those terms in their own words, and that would give you a passing grade of a 70. Personally, I think that you should shoot for an 80% or higher in this class. To get an 80%, you would need to move on and complete an experiment, which involves some laboratory skills. You need to perform the experiment safely. You're often going to be sharing materials with others. You should be able to explain why we're doing the experiment in terms of the objective or the purpose of the experiment. If you complete that experiment successfully, then you'll have the opportunity to do an extra assignment, which usually will be related to the experiment or related to the assignments that came before, and just shows that you have a little bit of higher knowledge in this topic. If you demonstrate 90% mastery, then that's what you'll get. And then finally, if you want to earn 100% for a particular topic or unit, then you need to show that you have extended your knowledge of this topic by either researching something outside the scope of what we learned in the class, or demonstrating that you would be able to teach the topic that we are learning. And I will give you more instructions about each of those steps as we go along. When we complete experiments, in the previous slide, you saw the section for experiments. Those 10 points will come from this scale. So what's most important when you're doing experiments in chemistry is that you're safe. If you're not completing the experiments safely, then you will only earn 5 out of 10, which is the same as if the assignment was entirely missing. Okay? If you don't complete the entire experiment, but you only complete part of the experiment, then you will get a 6 out of 10. If you complete most of the experiment, but you have a hard time explaining why we did the experiment, what was the purpose, or what were the results, then you'll get a 7 out of 10. So that's partially meeting the expectations. To show me that you're meeting my expectations, you should contribute to all parts of the experiment, and you should be able to at least generally explain what we were doing or what the outcome of the lab was. If you would like to get an A for an experiment, then you should contribute to all parts of the lab, and you should be able to give a general explanation of the purpose and the outcome of the lab. And finally, if you're able to do that in great detail, then you can earn 100% or 10 out of 10 for your laboratory assignments. I will also grade presentation skills on a rubric. Often these will be the assignments that will get you from a 90% to 100%. And some of our summative assessments will also be presentations. If you don't present, you will not get the points for this topic. If you present something but you read directly from the slides and it's difficult to tell if you have any understanding of the topic, you will receive a 6 out of 10. In order to get a passing grade, you need to show at least a basic understanding of your topic, but you might have some errors that impact understanding. In order to get an 8 out of 10, which I consider meeting expectations, you should generally understand your topic, you should be able to use your own words, and you should only have minor errors. And you can read the following 2 boxes to see how you would earn a 9 or 10 out of 10 on a presentation. A lot of these presentations will just be short assignments, could be just 1 or 2 slides. But the point is to develop our ability to talk about what we're learning, to explain it to somebody in a way that's easily understood. And then finally, I will occasionally offer extra credit for some assignments. If I offer extra credit, I will ask you how you would like to use it. 5 points of extra credit typically counts for a small missing assignment or 5 points towards a larger assignment. However, if you cheat or use outside resources on an assessment, you will receive a failing grade and I will not provide you with a retake. So please always be honest about what you know and let me know if you need extra help. It is better to be honest and take a retake than it is to be dishonest and lose the opportunity to retake an assessment. It's also important to note that if you skip class, if you are out of class without permission for more than 10 minutes, you are not eligible for makeup work, and I will make a note in PowerSchool, so that will not count towards your grade, even if you do make up the work, and that is a school policy.